April 2025. The courtroom sat in stunned silence. 2 full years of investigation, 17 years of waiting, and now, just 48 hours before the long-awaited murder trial, the district attorney announced it was all over. Not because the evidence had fallen apart. Not because the suspects had been cleared. But because the office was too understaffed to try the case. Logan Tatum's mother collapsed in tears. 19 years after her son was gunned down in a home invasion, she was left with nothing, no verdict, no closure, not even a phone call to warn her this would happen. She found out from the evening news. For the people of Dry Creek, Tennessee, and especially for Logan's family, it was more than a courtroom loss. It was a betrayal. A cold-blooded killing that had finally found answers, only to be swept aside by bureaucracy. And the question that echoed across the town wasn't just, who killed Logan Tatum? It was, what happens when the system gives up on justice? In a world where justice is too often silenced. Where the powerful walk free, and families are left to pick up the pieces. Every like, every subscribe, is a stand against forgetting. A stand against letting stories like Logan Tatum's fade into darkness. If you believe these stories deserve to be demystified, tap like. Hit subscribe. Join us. Because the only thing more chilling than a crime is when no one remembers it ever happened. Now, let's go back to where it all began. It was a chilly night in Dry Creek, Tennessee, the kind of November evening when folks wrapped themselves in flannel and the streets emptied early. Streetlights cast soft amber glows down Sycamore Street, and inside one small rental home, a group of young adults passed the time like they had so many nights before. Logan Tatum was among them. 20 years old, broad smile, quick wit, and a heart too big for his skinny frame. He wasn't the kind of guy to stir up trouble. He stayed close to home, played video games, worked part-time at the local gas station, and helped his mom Marilyn pay bills. Most people in Dry Creek knew him as the boy with the kind eyes. That night, Logan and 4 others had gathered at Jesse's house, a mutual friend. They ordered pizza, blasted music, and argued over who cheated during Mario Kart. It was laughter, loud music, and youth all bundled into a cozy house where nothing bad was supposed to happen. But at 11:11 p.m., the front door slammed open. A man in dark clothes burst through, yelling and waving a handgun. "Nobody move. I want the cash, now." His voice was rough, and his movements showed he wasn't bluffing. Panic erupted. Pizza boxes hit the floor. Jesse's girlfriend screamed. Someone ducked behind the couch. Logan stood near the hallway, frozen at first. Then he moved, whether to protect the others or to run, no one could say. But as he turned, a shot rang out. One shot. It hit him in the back. He dropped to the floor, gasping. The gunman ran. No one chased him. No one moved for a full 10 seconds as the ringing from the shot echoed off the drywall. Then chaos. "Call 911, someone screamed. Another pressed a hoodie against Logan's back, trying to stop the bleeding. His eyes were wide, filled with fear, and then slowly dimmed. By the time paramedics arrived, Logan Tatum was dead. Marilyn Tatum got the call at 11:47 p.m. The dispatcher didn't say much, just that her son had been shot and she needed to come to Sycamore Street. She drove through town faster than she ever had before. When she saw the yellow tape and flashing lights, she already knew. But she still ran through the line, screaming his name, begging for a different answer. A cop held her back as she collapsed in the street. "Please, no. Not my boy, not my Logan." The investigation began that night, but leads were few. The witnesses were rattled, confused. The shooter had worn a mask. He was average height, average build, and had no visible marks or tattoos. He was gone in seconds. The detectives canvassed the neighborhood. They knocked on doors, checked cameras, none of which worked or were angled right. They found a single shell casing and partial shoe print. That was all. Over the next few weeks, the Dry Creek police interviewed the friends again and again, but no one had much else to say. Some thought Logan had tried to wrestle the gun. Others said he was just turning to run. The case went cold. Months turned into years. The name Logan Tatum stopped appearing in the news. People moved away. Jesse joined the army. Logan's room at home stayed untouched. His mother sat on his bed every morning and said a prayer, hoping someone would come forward, hoping something would break the silence. By 2012, even the detectives had changed. The evidence was boxed and filed away. The crime scene photos grew yellowed with time. Still, Marilyn never let go. She kept his picture in her wallet, mailed letters to the mayor, the police chief, even the governor. She called the police station every Christmas. "I just want to know who did it," she said every time. Then, in early 2023, something changed. Dry Creek's new police chief had a vision to clear old cases. He formed a cold case task force, 3 detectives and 1 forensic analyst. Logan's case was one of the first files pulled. The team reviewed every page, re-examined every photo, every interview. They used new DNA techniques on the old hoodie stained with Logan's blood. They ran shoe print databases, and even used AI to map possible escape routes based on old satellite data. It worked. In March 2023, they brought in a woman named Melanie Ortiz, a known associate of a small-time robber who had been in and out of jail in Memphis. Melanie cracked after 3 hours of questioning. She hadn't been at the scene, she said, but she knew who had. Her ex-boyfriend, Derek Langston, had confessed to her years ago during an argument. Said he shot some punk during a robbery that went wrong. He even described the video game console that was sitting on the coffee table, something never released to the public. Langston had moved to Memphis under a new name, working construction. He was arrested within 72 hours. May 2023, a break in the case. It was the day Marilyn had waited for since Logan's death. A grand jury indicted Derek Langston for first-degree murder, robbery, and conspiracy. Melanie Ortiz was charged with assisting the crime. Media headlines read, "Cold case cracked after 17 years." Marilyn cried on camera. "We never stopped believing," she said. "I just want to see him in court. I want to see justice." The trial date was set for April 2025. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Logan's bedroom was cleaned out, not out of grief, but as a symbol of peace beginning. But peace never came. 2 days before the trial, Marilyn received no call. No email. No knock at the door. Instead, she turned on the evening news and saw the headline flash. All charges dropped in Logan Tatum case, DA cites staff shortages. She sat frozen on her couch, barely hearing the words that followed. The Hamilton County District Attorney's Office claimed they couldn't proceed with the trial due to lack of staff. The lead prosecutor had resigned, and the office had only 11 deputies to handle over 1,000 active cases. They filed to dismiss without prejudice, meaning they could refile later. But everyone knew that rarely happens. It was a quiet way of saying, "We're letting it go." Marilyn fell apart. "I feel like I lost him all over again," she told reporters. "And this time, I lost faith in the system, too." Logan's sister, Haley, posted online. They had 2 years to prepare. 17 years to make it right. And now, nothing. Logan was worth more than this. The night after the charges were dropped, Marilyn sat alone in her living room. A knock came at the door, soft, hesitant. When she opened it, a man stood on her porch. Someone she didn't recognize. "I knew Logan," he said quietly. "And I know something," that wasn't in the files.
Marilyn Tatum stared at the man on her porch. It was past 10 p.m. She'd been crying for hours, replaying the news over and over in her head. But now, here he stood, tall, skinny, nervous. A hoodie pulled low over his face. "I knew Logan," he said again, his voice cracking slightly. Marilyn didn't move. "What did you say?" "I was there, the night he died." She blinked, a chill running through her. "What's your name?" "Name's Sean. Sean Evers. I was Jesse's cousin. I was in the kitchen when it happened." Marilyn opened the door wider and stepped aside. "You need to come in." Sean sat on the edge of her couch, hands twitching, eyes darting around like he expected to be tackled any minute. Marilyn sat across from him, gripping a pillow like it was armor. "I never came forward," he started, "because I was scared. Everyone said the guy wore a mask, but I saw his face for a second. The way he turned toward the hallway, light hit him. It was Derek. I knew him from way back. He used to run with a crew near Jackson Park." Marilyn didn't speak. "I didn't say anything because my mom begged me not to. She said if I talked, they'd come after us. But when I saw they were finally bringing him to trial, I thought it was over. That I could stop being scared." Marilyn's voice was a whisper. "And now? Now that it's dropped, he's out there again. Free. Like nothing ever happened." The next morning, Marilyn took Sean to Dry Creek PD. The cold case detectives were stunned. They recorded his statement, compared it with previous interviews, and noted the accuracy of his memories. Sean knew details no one else did, like the exact placement of the pizza boxes and which friend ran toward the back room. "We'll submit this to the DA's office," the lead detective said. "It's strong. It could help refile the charges." Marilyn nodded slowly, hope flickering back into her eyes. But what she didn't know was that up the road, in the marble halls of the Hamilton County Courthouse, forces were already in motion to bury the case for good. Inside the district attorney's office, chaos reigned. DA Mark Easton stood at his window, hands behind his back, looking out at the courthouse square. His assistant, Julia, placed the latest staffing report on his desk. "Still only 11 deputies," she said. "And 2 are out on medical leave." Easton sighed. "We can't survive like this." He'd already gone before the Prosecutor Advisory Council begging for more funding. They said maybe next fiscal year. In the meantime, the office was drowning: homicides, sexual assaults, drug trafficking, and more. The Logan Tatum case, with its cold history and emotional weight, would have taken weeks of prep. And there just wasn't time. "We'll get heat for this," Julia said quietly. "I know. But it's politics or justice, and right now, politics wins." Meanwhile, the defense team moved fast. Langston's attorney, Rhett Wilkins, filed a motion to dismiss with prejudice, meaning the charges could never be brought again. In his motion, he wrote, "The state has failed to act with due diligence. My client's reputation, livelihood, and freedom remain in jeopardy due to prosecutorial indecision. Enough is enough." Privately, Wilkins admitted to a colleague, "The case is weak. No DNA. One flaky eyewitness. A confession from an angry ex. It was never a slam dunk." The DA knew they could lose. But what he didn't expect was the arrival of Sean Evers' testimony, a bombshell that made the state's case stronger overnight. Back at home, Marilyn waited. Days passed. Then a week. No call. No knock at the door. No sign that the DA's office was doing anything with Sean's statement. She called. Left voicemails. Sent emails. Nothing. Finally, she walked into the courthouse herself, marched straight to the front desk, and asked to see DA Mark Easton. The receptionist gave her a tight smile. He's in meetings all day, ma'am. You can fill out a contact form. I lost my son, Marilyn snapped. I've waited 19 years. He can wait 10 minutes for me. Security was called. She was escorted out. The news got wind of it. Local station WKDR ran the headline, "Mother of cold case victim denied access to DA after charges dropped." Public opinion turned sharply. Comment sections flooded with outrage. What kind of justice system protects the killer and ignores the mom? Staff shortages? That's not a reason. That's an excuse. We want DA Easton to resign. By now, Marilyn was exhausted, angry, and barely holding it together. But she wasn't backing down. "If they think I'm just going to fade into the background again," she told a reporter, "they picked the wrong mother to underestimate." 2 weeks after the charges were dropped, DA Easton was forced to give a press conference. He stood at the podium, flashbulbs popping, sweat visible on his brow. "I understand the public's frustration," he said. "But we are committed to fairness. We have limited resources. We must make difficult decisions." A journalist yelled from the back, "What about the new eyewitness?" Easton froze. Another question, "Are you going to refile charges now that Sean Evers came forward?" He cleared his throat. "We're reviewing all new evidence as it becomes available." But in the background, a darker truth was unraveling. An internal memo from Julia to Easton, meant to be private, had leaked. The memo clearly stated, "If we pursue the Tatum case, we must pull staff from 2 active gang trials. We risk losing those prosecutions. Recommend dropping Tatum entirely to protect higher conviction rate optics for re-election." That single sentence exploded across social media. It wasn't just about staffing anymore, it was about political image. Marilyn's fight reignited. She held a vigil outside the courthouse. Local moms joined her. So did a few off-duty officers and even one retired judge. She carried a sign that read, "My son's life isn't a political inconvenience." National outlets picked up the story. Protesters showed up from neighboring counties. A petition demanding the case be reopened gained over 200,000 signatures in 3 days. Easton was now cornered. April 18, 2025, a quiet bombshell dropped. Judge Rebecca Hollins ruled against Langston's motion for dismissal with prejudice. She cited compelling new testimony and ongoing public interest. The door was open for the case to be refiled. But whether the DA would walk through that door was another question. And then came the message. A man called the DA's tip line. He wouldn't give a name. But what he said sent shivers down the receptionist's spine. "You dropped the charges on Langston? Might want to check the gun lockers. I know where the murder weapon is." The next day, a battered revolver was found in a storm drain behind a condemned building in Memphis. Ballistics were pending, but the serial number matched a weapon reported stolen 2 weeks before Logan Tatum was killed. It could be the missing link, the smoking gun. But then the evidence room mysteriously locked down. A chain of custody form went missing. And a new rumor spread inside the DA's office. That someone was trying to bury the evidence.
By the time the revolver was pulled from that storm drain in Memphis, tension in Dry Creek had reached a boiling point. Marilyn Tatum sat in her kitchen, eyes locked on her phone, waiting for news that might finally shift the tide. And then it came. "Ballistics match," said the voice on the other end of the line. "The weapon is consistent with the bullet that killed Logan. It's the murder weapon." Marilyn didn't cry. Not this time. She stood still, hands flat against the table. After 19 years, a single sentence brought Logan back into the room, if only for a moment. At the DA's office, panic set in. Internal audits revealed that the gun had nearly been lost due to a misfiled chain of custody form, an administrative oversight, they claimed. But insiders whispered it was more deliberate than that. Someone didn't want the trial reopened. The leak spread fast. By the time local media broke the story, public trust in District Attorney Mark Easton was plummeting. And so was his political career. Under pressure from state officials, Easton made a reluctant announcement. Given new physical evidence, the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office will refile charges against Derek Langston for the murder of Logan Tatum. Our office is now working with the Attorney General to ensure resources are available to move forward. But the damage was done. The public saw what it took to get here: a grieving mother's persistence, a nearly lost witness, and a gun nearly buried by bureaucratic rot. The trial date was set for August 2025. This time, Maryland got a call. The new lead prosecutor was a no-nonsense woman from Nashville named Danielle Kerr, appointed by the state. She flew in personally to meet the family. "We're not here to win elections," Danielle told Maryland. "We're here to speak for your son." The courtroom was packed on day one. Langston sat at the defense table, clean-shaven, wearing a navy suit. He looked more like a bank manager than the man accused of murder. But as the prosecution laid out its case, the 2006 witness statements, Melanie Ortiz's confession, the surprise testimony from Sean Evers, and the now-confirmed murder weapon, the weight began to build. Prosecutor Kerr didn't rely on theatrics. She focused on the facts, the timeline, and the emotional threads. She showed Logan's hoodie, the bullet entry, the 911 call transcript. She let Maryland's voice do the rest. When Maryland took the stand, the room held its breath. "My son was the kind of boy who wouldn't run from danger if it meant helping someone else," she said. "They said he turned his back. I think he turned toward his friends, and tried to protect them." The defense pushed back hard. They attacked Melanie's credibility, painted Sean as an attention seeker, and argued that the gun could have changed hands a dozen times in 17 years. No fingerprints. No direct video. No confession from my client, Rhett Wilkins reminded the jury. But the jurors listened quietly. Some took notes. One woman wiped her eyes. After 6 days, the trial ended. The jury deliberated for 9 hours. Marilyn, Haley, and the rest of the family sat in silence, holding hands in the gallery. Outside, protesters gathered, still chanting Logan's name, even after all these years. Finally, the bailiff opened the doors. The verdict was read. "We, the jury, find the defendant, Derek Langston, guilty of first-degree murder." Marilyn collapsed into Haley's arms, sobbing. Around them, the courtroom erupted, some with cheers, others with stunned silence. Langston was led away in cuffs. No plea deal, no reduced sentence. Life without parole. Melanie Ortiz had already taken a plea bargain, 10 years for aiding and conspiracy. She was scheduled to serve her time in a minimum security prison. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Reporters swarmed Marilyn, but she didn't say much. Just one line that echoed on every news channel that night. "They tried to erase my son with silence." But justice spoke louder. 2 months later, DA Mark Easton resigned. His replacement promised transparency, more staff, and better handling of cold cases. An internal review revealed that 4 other serious cases had also been quietly shelved due to resource constraints. Families were notified. Cases reopened. Danielle Kerr was offered the permanent prosecutor position. She declined. "I go where the fire is," she said. "Not where the politics are." As for Marilyn, she finally changed Logan's room. Not to erase him, but to honor him. The posters stayed. His video game console was placed in a glass case beside his football jersey. A photo of him at age 10, arms slung around his sister, sat in the center. She started a foundation, Logan's Light, dedicated to supporting families of cold case victims and advocating for fair trial access regardless of county funding. But the story didn't end there. One morning, an envelope appeared on Marilyn's porch. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. It showed Langston in 2006, standing with two other men, none of whom had been charged. The photo had a scribbled note. He wasn't alone that night. Beneath it, another line. Check who the gun was registered to, then follow the shell casing. Marilyn turned the photo over. It was stamped from a corner store film developer dated November 18, 2006, 3 days after Logan's death. She brought the photo straight to Detective Keller, who now ran the cold case unit full-time. He examined it, brows furrowed. "This could crack more than just your case," he said. "I thought it was over," Marilyn said softly. Keller looked up. "Maybe for Logan. But not for the others." Logan Tatum's story wasn't just a crime. It was a warning. A reminder that justice delayed isn't just justice denied, it's often justice buried beneath paperwork, elections, and excuses. In a country where prosecutors can drop murder cases due to staff shortages, what hope do ordinary families have? What if Marilyn hadn't fought back? What if no one had leaked the memo? What if that gun had gone unclaimed? The system didn't save Logan. A grieving mother did. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, someone still knows something. Someone else was in that house, or helped plan it. And one day, they might step forward. Or maybe not. But Marilyn's voice remains, steady and certain. "I got justice for Logan. Now I'll fight for the rest." Subscribe to our channel to enjoy more of these true crime stories. What do you think? Should Langston's accomplices be hunted down? Can our justice system truly work if it depends on budget approvals? Is justice a right, or just a privilege for the few who can afford to demand it? Let us know in the comments.